You're listening to episode 105 of the Small and Supercharged podcast with Ria Freeman. On the Small and Supercharged podcast today, we are joined by Kate Lewis, who you might know better as Blob The Cob, which is possibly one of the best Instagram handles ever.
I mean, yeah, it was supposed to be Bob the Cob, but it was a typo, and I guess we can't go back now.
Was it really?
It was, because my second pony was called Bob, so we got really creative. He's Bob, and he's a cob, so Bob the Cob supposed to be, but a little L ended up in there, and now it's Blob the Cob, and I feel like I can't change it now. We've come too far.
Oh, right. Well, I mean, you're a legend already. We're like a new thing, and you're already my hero. I did wonder, because you're a show jumper, so cobs and show jumpers aren't always, you don't always think of them together.
Yeah, a lot of people don't associate cobs with show jumping at all, but 2 out of the 3 of my pony show jumpers that I had were cobs, so I can vouch that cobs can indeed jump.
Well, I mean, that's one hell of an intro. So tell us a bit about yourself, Kate. We know about your Instagram handle now, which I now love even more. So tell us about you.
Okay, so I'm nearly 21. I'll be 21 in a few weeks, but I think I'll be having a very sort of sad 21st birthday party, not leaving the house or doing anything interesting. But yeah, I'm a 21-year-old show jumper and influencer, I guess you could say. I technically am now, from North Yorkshire. And yeah, for work, I produce horses, I buy and sell horses, I take on liveries and work through problems they're having and things like that. And I coach as well for a living, so, which I've recently gotten into more and I'm really enjoying. So that's a little rundown on me.
I should say, if you're not listening to this, if you're listening to this in the future, the reason why Kate's going to be spending her 21st at home is not because she's a sad case at all. It's because
well, that's debatable still. That's a different topic. We'll get onto that at a different time.
It's because obviously, as we're recording this, we are in the coronavirus lockdown phase. So, but what I've done with my birthday, because my birthday was last weekend when we're recording this, I'm just rescheduling it for the summer. So like the Queen, I'm going to have 2.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yes.
Do that.
Yeah, that's definitely the way to go. I might have to do that with mine as well.
100%. Yours is a 21st. Mine is just a birthday, but get that rescheduled. You don't want to be messing around with it.
Yeah, it's one of the main ones, isn't it? It's like 18, 21st, and then it goes on.
And more. But yeah, get it rescheduled. So can you tell us when you started your account? Because at the time we're recording this, your Instagram account currently stands at 142,000 followers, and your amazing, and your YouTube is 42,000. Yes, really.
Oh
I
didn't really know that. I thought I was on like 39,000, and then you said 42. I was like, wow, really? Are you sure?
Whilst we're on here. Tell us how it all started whilst I just double check that number, but I did check before we started recording.
I don't check very often, so it might be right, but if it is, that's really nice. So I think I started it in 2012 with my friend Becky. She actually made the account for us together, and she used to edit all of my videos. At the very beginning. I think I edited my first video in 2014, so for 2 years it was just all Becky, and then I'd like write the description or something so it looked like I'd edited it, because I couldn't edit at all. And then to keep the channel going, Becky started doing her GCSEs at the time, and I thought, oh, Becky she doesn't have time to make the videos anymore. What am I gonna do? My 300 followers are gonna realize I'm a fraud. So I decided to try and edit myself, and that was sort of where I started from then. So sort of 2014 onwards, I was editing my own stuff.
Cool. So you were, if you're nearly 21, you were 14, 15 then, is that right?
Yeah, the good old days.
Good old days. Wow, and you started off on YouTube, did you?
Yes, I started off on YouTube. I'm not sure when Instagram started, but I didn't start my Instagram for a couple of years. It could have been 2013. I started my Instagram, actually. 2013 or 14, but I can't remember exactly. But yeah, when you scroll right to the bottom of my Instagram, you can see the kind of tone that was about at the time was like pictures with like a really dramatic, filter on, and then some like inspirational text on. And I think I tried that for like 2 posts, and it's really funny looking back because I had in my head that I was going to be this inspirational quote Instagrammer, and then I look back and think, what was I doing with my life? That was never going to pan out.
I have checked for the record, and you are indeed at 42.
Oh my god, am I actually?
42.4, yes.
Oh wow, well thank you very much everyone. I had no idea.
Well, that's good. Well done you. Another milestone.
Yeah, another milestone. It's brilliant.
So you just started it initially as just a bit of fun. Was that how it started?
Yeah, definitely. We were just editing like fun little videos together from when my friend would come round. She had a Nikon D3100 at the time, I think. And she would just film little bits and bobs here and there, and then we'd edit them together with some music and stuff. And that was just kind of the thing we did. And I continued that on for quite a while. I don't make as many of those videos now, but they're still my favorite ones to make. I like watching them the best. And yeah, and then I sort of progressed to doing, I think I did my first Q&A, that was like my first sit down talkie video in 2015, and it was on a different channel that I made thinking that was going to be my channel for like talking on. And I looked at it the other day and it was so awkward. It was horrific. I had no presence on camera at all. I was just looking down really shyly, and reading questions off my phone and then answering them with no enthusiasm. So we have come a little bit further now.
Bless you. Well, that's really great to hear, actually, because obviously now you've got 142,000 followers on Instagram and 42.4 thousand on YouTube, and to hear how you started and how the trial and error, seeing things that didn't work, and how that's really grown. I think for anyone listening who wants to have an account that they want people to follow and enjoy, it's really positive that everyone really does start somewhere.
Definitely. I mean, it's been really hard, and I think it is something you get used to over the time, being able to talk to a camera and sort of enunciate and be confident and stuff. Because I often think to myself, like, on paper, I really shouldn't have ended up being as sort of confident in front of a camera and stuff as I am. Because I left school in year 9, I think, end of year 9, and then I was homeschooled for 2 years. I left school due to bullying. And went homeschooled, so I had no social interaction at all until like A levels. So looking back, I always think like it's amazing that I was able to talk to the camera at all, because I shouldn't have had any confidence whatsoever. And I think the social media has really helped me blossom with that, because I've been able to talk to people who I have things in common with and stuff through a camera, and and read the lovely comments and things, and it really just boosts you and make you more confident in what you do.
Definitely. Well, that's really interesting. So talk to us a bit about the horsey side of what you do. So obviously you've got your own business now with liveries and you produce, and obviously these two very much work together. So can you tell us a bit about the horses, your show jumping, and about that side of things?
Yeah, so I started show jumping in 2014 properly with British show jumping, on my pony Bob, and then I got Nero in the back end of 2014, who was my main pony show jumper that I had, and he was a JA as well, because we'd always discussed, me and my parents, that we'd try and get a JA for my last year on ponies, and it was really special to have Nero, because I'd followed Nero since I was 11 years old on YouTube, because he'd been sort of a YouTube star long before he ever came to us. So yeah, I followed him from there, and when I was able to jump him for my last year on ponies, that was really special, and we ended up going to Hoys and things, which was like my dream come true on my dream pony as well. So it was just a dream all around to have that happen. Then I moved on to horses, and that was in 2016. the same year I moved on to horses, I actually got accepted onto an apprenticeship. So I left college and stopped doing my A-levels and went on an apprenticeship with British show jumping, which was insane because I ended up sat next to all these people who I never thought I'd be sat in a room with ever in my life. All these young international riders and stuff, and I was just sat here, this little YouTuber with with my little cob ponies, like, what am I doing in here?
Wow.
So that was an amazing experience. And yeah, last year I started my own business working with horses. Finally sort of put myself out there. It was something I'd been planning to do for a long time, and I just really hadn't had the confidence to just really go for it before. So I went for it last year, and it's been great so far, up until now anyway, because obviously work has just stopped now.
So is the business that you're talking about now much more the coaching side of things?
Yes, so I do my coaching and I take on liveries at home as well. So mostly that's competition, sales, holiday liveries and schooling liveries. So people drop their horses off here and I'll work with them for a designated amount of time. And I find that really rewarding because, I mean, I love working with my own horses, but getting like a new horse in that maybe has something that they need to work through, like they have a bucking problem or a napping problem or something, and being able to see that progression through the time that they're there is something that I find really rewarding. And then my coaching as well is when I got qualified to be a coach, that was in 2017, I think. And as soon as I was qualified, I just didn't do anything. 2017 was sort of my lowest point in my life, I think, so far, where I just wasn't feeling great in myself mentally or anything. So coaching was the last thing on my mind. And I'd always sort of said to myself at that point, like, I don't want to coach anymore. I'm not confident enough to do it. And I don't believe in myself enough to teach people. And then last year, I got called up to do a clinic in Ripon, and there was nine or 10 people there, so it would have been like a 10-hour day. Right. And I thought, you know what, this is a fantastic opportunity. I'm just gonna throw myself in, and this is the only way I'm gonna get back into it. And it was amazing, and everyone had such a good time. And I just really focused from the outset on, like, I need to be confident and just go in there and do it. And once I'd done it, I thought, no, I love this so much. This is what I want to do. So I've had lots more clinics since then, and it's just been really rewarding. Yeah.
So that's really interesting, actually, because you would think somebody who's been on, so present and so active on social media, who does videos, would be supremely confident.
Yeah.
So when you were having the issue with kind of coaching from a confidence point of view, did you find that was the same on social as well, or did you find that they were very separate?
Definitely, but at the time I made the mistake in sort of 2017. I think I finally opened up about my mental health in like 2018, but in 2017 I was very much burying it within myself. And then anytime I spoke to a camera or posted anything, it just made me feel worse because I had to sort of pretend to be someone that I wasn't at the time. So I'd pretend to be all bubbly and like, oh, I'm so happy, and I love what I do and everything's going great. And then every time I posted something, in my head I'd think that was such a lie, and then I'd just feel worse about myself. So I felt so much better in 2018. I finally sort of opened up about everything, and that made me feel so much better about everything, that everyone finally knew and I could just be myself then. So it's been much easier since then.
And how have you found, since doing that, what kind of response have you had from people? Have you found that people have spoken to you in a positive, different way? How have you found since that transition? Obviously, you were on social quite a long time before then. So yeah, what kind of change have you seen?
I was not expecting the reaction I got from opening up about my mental health. I honestly thought it was just something that I was going to post really quickly, then forget all about and just kind of move on, because that's how I felt at the time. But as soon as I posted it, I started getting messages all the time of people saying, thank you so much for posting that. It's really helped me open up about my mental health and stuff. And that was a side that I never thought would sort of come to light. I thought it would just be something that I put on really quickly and forget all about. But to think that it had actually helped a lot of people as well, which was something that I'd never thought would come of it. And that was really special to see happening. And that made me feel amazing as well, thinking that something that I'd managed to say may have helped somebody else get through what they're going through. So yeah, that was incredible, really.
Yeah, and I think it must be very tricky as well, because obviously social media gets blamed quite a lot for having a really negative impact on people's social health, and mental health. I've just combined like 3 words together. And I completely get that it can have a really negative impact on people's mental health, and I see it a lot. But
yeah,
I do believe that there is a lot of good out there, and I think that people like yourself who are being very open about your feelings and about about your mental health is going to be really positive from people who look up to you, who follow you, because it starts to kind of normalize it and getting it out there and sharing the problem. And I think it's a really brave thing to do, because I think whenever we open ourselves up and we are vulnerable, it is a scary thing.
Yeah,
but obviously you've had a massive impact through doing that.
It has been incredible, and I think it's so important as well, because I think social media can be a blessing and a curse at the same time, because people only tend to, they unknowingly do it as well, but they only tend to post what they like, their successes in life. So often you'll go on someone's account and all you'll see is like, oh, this horse won this weekend and stuff, and my other one came second. And then what you don't hear about is that they also took another 4 horses with them that they didn't do well at all, or like the following weekend they got eliminated in all their classes, but you never hear about any of that. All you see is like, I won here and then I went over there and I won there as well, and look how well I'm doing. And I think they don't think of themselves as doing anything wrong, and it isn't doing anything wrong, but to their audience, when they're looking at that, all they can think is like, this person's perfect, they're doing everything right, and I'm nothing in comparison. Like I went out and got eliminated at the weekend. I must be terrible in comparison. And I think it plays on people's minds, and it doesn't help in those situations. So I think it's really important that now, I mean, I never planned on having a following or anything, or having to address things and do stuff like that. I never thought my life would end up like that. But now that it sort of has reached that point, I think it's my responsibility to share the truth. If I have a bad weekend, I'll put like, okay, the show didn't go very well, and sort of paint a more truthful picture, because I think it's my responsibility to share the truth with everyone, so that they don't feel so bad if they're going through a rough point. We've all been through rough points with horses. They're not an easy sport to be with at all. No. At the end of the day, you're dealing with a teammate that doesn't speak your language. It's like a half-ton animal that doesn't understand what you're asking most of the time. And yeah, a lot of the time it's just luck and hard work that gets you to where you want to be. But there's so much disappointment along the way with them, and I think the more as a community we can share that together and sort of just embrace it and help each other get through it. Horses go lame, disappointments at shows, anything like that. I think the more we can group together as a community and sort of work together with that, the easier it will be on everyone's mental health as well.
Yeah, no, I love that. I think that's absolutely true. I think as well that if you're following someone and you're seeing an honest account of their life, you are more interested in them doing well as well. So when they do well, you're like, yes, she worked so hard to get there. That horse was a devil. The last time they went out, she fell off, or this happened, and good for her for persisting. Versus they've won again.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think that's really good. And again, it is a brave thing to share the ups and downs, but I think it's so important, especially people I think you're doing an amazing job, and I think in your position as well, being able to say, look, we do have bad days, we do fall off, the horse doesn't always do exactly what we expect, but it's all right, we'll have to fight another day, we'll go again tomorrow. And
the more you can just sort of laugh those days off and think, you know what, it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. In a couple of years, all being well, you'll look back on that moment and think, oh dear, like that's quite funny looking back. Whereas, you know, you've just got to keep working hard and, you know, keep your eyes on the long-term goal as well as like your little goals short term. But, you know, it's good to dream big, but you don't have to do all that at once, and you're not going to be the perfect picture all the time. So you've just got to keep trying.
Definitely. So how do you feel about this influencer tag? I know because you said, when you introduced yourself, you said something like, oh, when I'm an influencer, I think, or currently. How do you feel about the fact that you started off the account as a bit of fun and now it's quite, you know, a really serious account, and you are very much an equestrian influencer? Yeah. How does that feel?
I think it's excelled a lot more than I thought it had, and I don't think it's changed the sort of things that I would post a lot of the time. Like, there's been the odd thing that I wouldn't post, or that I've talked about with other equestrian influencers, like, should I post this or not? Because at the end of the day, now you've got this group of often younger, more vulnerable, like, children and things that you're putting content out there for. So you've really got to think through some of the things you're putting out there, of like, how is this going to look to them? Are they, you know, if it's something that isn't really dangerous for you, if I put it on, are they going to try it? Is it dangerous for them? I know an example I have of that was, we did a truth or dare video that I filmed 2 years ago, I think now, that never actually got put on, because in the end I just deemed it too unsafe for my audience. I thought, oh my gosh, I'd never forgive myself if they tried any of these things, and it didn't go well. But I had one picture in particular of me with Nero, and someone had dared me to do a handstand on his bum. So I had a picture of it, and I mean, Nero's a saint, and he just stood there good as gold. We did it on the first attempt. He didn't care at all. So to me, I was wearing a hat and things. It wasn't dangerous for me personally, and that was my personal decision to do that. And of course, we had this really cool picture and stuff, and I thought, this is great, I'm going to put this on. And then I thought to myself, hang on a second, if I put this on, someone may try to do this on a pony that isn't quite as safe, or, you know, they'll try and do it and maybe it goes wrong and they get hurt, and then it just, in the grand scheme of things, it's just not worth it. So in the end, we didn't end up putting it on. But yeah, I think you've just got to be careful with what you do and say, because you're setting an example to these people. You're being, I think the definition is that you're being an influence in someone's life. So you've got to think about the things you say as well. I don't get involved in any sort of internet spats and arguments and things that go on, because I think a lot of the time in life, like, yeah, you've got to, you know, fight your own battles, but that isn't always the way to go about it, and it's not sort of the way that I would ever go about it. So try and remain professional, but also be approachable if you can be. You know, I always keep my DMs open to everyone, and they don't often get a very quick response, but I do get there in the end. So no, it's nice to be able to communicate with them, because I always find it strange when I meet people out at shows and stuff, and some people get really, really nervous to see me, and I always think that's so strange to me, because to me, I'm just a normal person. Like, I didn't plan any of this, so it's weird, but yeah.
Did you kind of start to feel that pressure when you got to a certain number of followers, or have you always kind of felt that? Because really, I think even if you got 100 followers, it really engaged, interested, yeah, you're still an influence to those followers. So how did it work for you?
I think I did start to feel the pressure a little bit more as it got on. Like, to start with, as more followers came, it was more of like you know, I'm getting loads of followers. I was only like 14 as well, so it's like, wow, I'm so famous, like. And then you sort of get to a point where you think, okay, hang on a second, I'm gonna have to change a little bit here, not change myself, but just change the way I go about putting things out there for these people as well. So I'm setting a good example for them too. Yeah. It's been really, really nice, actually. I've had messages off some parents before and things as well, which not something I get very often, but every once in a while I'll get a message off a parent or something saying, I love letting my child follow your account and stuff. I think you're a really good influence, and that they sort of really fill me with like happiness, really, reading them, because always the aim, you know, to make people feel comfortable with their children following your account and things. So that's a really special thing to have, I think.
Definitely. So thinking about your kind of whole social media journey, what would you say? We'll start with lows. We're going to go highs, so don't panic. It's going to, we always go up. We always go up. But you hear that some people have issues with people trolling them, negative comments, this, that, and the other. Have you experienced, what's been your kind of lowest points in this sort of journey?
I mean, I've experienced a lot of hate comments and things, but I think everybody has been through those phases. And at first, it does sort of hit you, and you think, oh my gosh, like that's what this person thinks of me and stuff. And you've just got to work towards. I think over the years, you get to a point where you're like, I know whose opinion matters to me now, and these people, you're always best. The best thing to do, my advice for anyone would be to just block them, delete the comment or whatever it is, and report them if it was a particularly nasty comment or anything. Because at the end of the day, it is not worth any of what it will cost you. You know, this person doesn't know you, they don't know your story, where you came from, they don't know anything about your horse or you at all. So if you don't know them personally and their opinion doesn't really matter to you when you think about it, then just delete the comment and move on, because it's just not worth the effect that it'll have on your mental health as well. But particularly low points. Sorry?
Which can be significant. You see a lot of people really tearing themselves up about a comment from a stranger who probably just, I don't even know why some people leave these comments.
Yeah.
But I think
and I mean, as you get older as well, you sort of start to see it really differently. I think when you're young and you're more vulnerable, it does hit you more. Whereas when you're older, when people say some of the same things that they said to you when you were like 12, 13, 14, you just kind of think, oh, dear me, forget about it and just block them and move on. And some of them are actually quite funny. I had quite a funny one the other day that I won't say because it had a bit of language in it, but we had a really good laugh about it as a family the other day. It was a brilliant comment on one of my recent YouTube videos. But we had, I remember when there was a website called Ask FM. I don't know whether that's still a thing, but at the time when that was first launched, I don't know whose idea it was to put that website out there, but it was potentially one of the worst websites I've ever come across for bullying and stuff, because it was, you could just ask people questions anonymously. So it was basically I don't know who thought of the idea or what they were thinking was going to happen. I think they thought it would be like a good chance for fans to interact with like the celebrities and stuff that they look out to and friends and things without knowing the things that they'd said, without putting their name out there. But in the end, that turned out to be a perfect place to go if you wanted to bully someone and them not know it was you. So you often saw a lot of hate on there. I'm not sure whether it's still a thing or not. Someone else might know if it is, but I deleted my account on there a long time ago, because when you went through the questions, it was all just hate comments, really, because people could just go there and comment without their name being seen. So, yeah.
Sorry, I cut you off when you said about your lows, because I just wanted to revisit that point you were talking about the negativity and how that can impact you. So what would you say has been your low? It might not be connected to that at all, but what's been your low, would you say?
I mean, sort of as on a whole, I think my mental health has definitely been my low point of my life. It's been my definite, it's my worst quality in myself, is my mental health, and it continues to sort of be a problem. I've sort of had mental health issues for the last 7 years, I think, so quite a long time. And I always sort of thought to myself, I'd read like things on the internet, and I sort of always knew that I did have sort of depression and anxiety and stuff, but I never wanted to self-diagnose myself, because I know that's not something I ever wanted to do. So I did go and speak to someone at the time a few years ago, and then sort of back end of last year, my mental health started to really play up again. And this time it sort of seemed a bit worse to me, because when it first came about in sort of, like 2014, 15 time, there was very definitive things that were happening in my life that were definitely to blame. Whereas last year, it was kind of just like I didn't know why I was having these feelings and why I was thinking about these things that I didn't want to be thinking about at all. And all my life around me, like I had good friends, my family, everything was fine there. Financially, for the first time in my life, I was okay. As okay as you ever are with horses, Any money in your bank account at all with horses is a miracle.
Yeah.
But sort of on a whole, my life was how I'd have pictured it to be perfect, yet I still felt horrendous. So I'm really pleased I did, but at the beginning of January, I did go to a doctor this year, and I finally was diagnosed clinically, officially, with clinical depression and anxiety as well. So it's sort of an ongoing battle for me, really. But I'm pleased. I've been a bit better about it since I finally have like a word and stuff for what I've been going through.
Yeah.
And it's been strange because I remember being really little and sort of talking about mental health and stuff with people, and I always saw it as like, I don't know anyone with a mental health issue, like it must be so weird. And now here I am all these years later battling on with it every day. But no, you have your ups and downs, but I definitely, once this coronavirus situation has sort of begun to resolve a little bit again, I'm definitely going to go and find someone else to talk to, because I don't really want to go down the route of like medicines and things like that to try and get me through it. I'd rather try and do it with just having someone to talk to. So see how that goes. But that's definitely my weakest point as a person. I wish I could improve that area.
I think going to the doctor is such an important thing. If anyone's listening who has got has got a mental health issue, or lost, or incredibly sad and they can't explain it, or go to a doctor. It's a really positive thing to do.
Yeah, it was nowhere near as bad as I expected it to be. I mean, making that phone call was so hard. I was sat there for about an hour before I made the call thinking, am I going to do this? I'm going to regret doing this. I know I am. And then eventually I made the call, and during the appointment and stuff, I was just thinking, like, I'm so glad I did this. And my advice to anyone out there would be that remember that you're not alone, and there are people out there that you can talk to that doesn't cost money either. I think that's a problem for a lot of people as well. They think, I can't fund the things I'm normally doing, so why would I put money into myself in that sense? But it's so important to do that. And I mean, you can go through, you don't have to go privately and things, you can go through your doctor and work through it that way. But no, it's so important to have a good mental health, because it really does affect everything you do. I mean, like back end of last year, when it was sort of at its worst, I was really not working very well either. And it wasn't that, the doctor sort of asked me, are you enjoying your work? And I sort of thought, I am, but for some reason, I just don't have the motivation to go out there and do it. And it's such a strange feeling, because it physically affects you as well as mentally. So I'd be so lethargic all the time and just tired and just fed up. So it does affect you. And when you've got a good mental health, you work so much better and you're so much more approachable. And like what I do online and stuff, I mean, with the social media, I made so many videos when I was feeling at my lowest point, and then never put any of them on, because I'd get to editing and I sort of know myself better now. So I could see it on the videos that I was, not myself at all. And even though other people probably wouldn't have been able to notice, I just thought to myself, I'm not putting that on there, because that's not me. So I only tend to upload when I'm feeling good and I've filmed something that I'm proud of. And I think that's why I've been filming a bit infrequently at the moment. But hopefully I'll start to post more regularly, and then people will know that I'm doing a bit better.
No, completely. So what have your highs been?
Okay, getting on a slightly less depressing topic.
No, sorry, it's not depressing at all. I think it's really interesting. I think it's really good to share. And I think as well, someone who has got your following sharing this kind of thing is so important, because there's so much about mental health at the moment, quite rightly, and saying to people, look, reach out, speak to people, do things, come on, not come on, but
yeah,
there's lots of help out there.
You've got to take that first step yourself and, get yourself some help. And, you really can save yourself. You don't need to have people at home that you can talk to and stuff. You know, that's because often people don't. I find that the older generation, you know, social media has impacted our mental health a lot, and the older generation didn't have that. So often some of the things that you want to talk about with them, they're not sort of ignoring you and they're not getting angry at you and things. They just don't understand at all. So I think it's so helpful. You don't have to talk to them. You can talk to people that are completely just, you know, listening to you. That's all they're doing, and it's so helpful.
100%. I will also put some do a bit of research and put some websites in the show notes, because there's some really good websites out there for different people, different ages. And you say the advice is free, and I think there's a text service as well. So I'll do some research and I'll pop some of those links into the show notes. So if people are struggling, go and have a look. It is really important.
Yeah. So high points.
Let's go highs. Let's go highs.
Yeah. So high points, definitely in my last year of ponies, a high point. We had several. I won 3 of the big sort of classes that year, which was just incredible looking back. I won the Winter JA, the Dunglen at Scope Festival, and then I won my last chance to qualify for Horse of the Year, so I won the qualifier. So we ended up going to toys. But it was so funny because, I mean, I think there were about 8 or 9 qualifiers through the summer to qualify, and every time I'd either be like really close to qualifying or I'd get like eliminated, and it was just loads of highs and lows. And I think the penultimate one I fell off in, and it was right at the end as well. It'd been going so good and I fell off, and the last qualifier came, and it was at Morris Equestrian Centre in Scotland, and the day before there was a warm-up class, and Nero went in and he stopped in the combination in the warm-up class, and he had a combination problem the previous winter that we'd sort of worked out, and it had all been going so well since then. So he stopped the day before in this treble combination, and I thought to myself, well, that's just great. I've spent the entire summer and he's going to throw this back at me now. And I was in a terrible mood. I'd sulked so much the day before the qualifier. But I think it helped me because I finally got into a way in my head of like, you know what? I don't even care what happens tomorrow. I'm just going to go out there and I'm going to ride, because I think I'd gotten so in my head about it on every other qualifier, thinking, this is such a big class. This is such a big opportunity. I've got to do really well in this. So in the last one, I finally just thought, I don't care whatsoever. I'm just going to go in there. And he went clear, and I thought, oh my God, did that just happen? And then there were 4 of us in the jump off as well, and only 3 qualified. So then I started thinking, oh, this is how it's going to play out. I'm going to be the first to go, and everybody else is going to go, and I'll be the one that doesn't qualify. But luckily, we managed to win the qualifier, so that was a really nice moment. And my dad had been away, and he came back just as we'd won the qualifier, so he always said it was such a nice memory for him to walk in, because like he'd been used to me being so sulky after my rounds and stuff that year. Such a diva. And he walked around the corner, and he just remembers seeing me like hugging him and all these people around me and Nero, sort of, you know, looking all happy and stuff, and I had like tears in my eyes and stuff, and he just remembers walking around the corner and thinking, oh my God, she's done it. And yeah, it was a very special day.
Well, that's so lovely. So thinking about your social media, what kind of opportunities have come from having this presence?
I mean, there's so many opportunities with sponsors and things like that. I never thought I'd have any sponsors or anything. My first sponsor was Blue Chip, who I welcomed in 2016. I won a competition with them to be a sponsor, and I always thought that would be my only chance ever at having a sponsor. You know, no one would ever message me to be a sponsor for their company and things. And then all of a sudden, over the years, it started to build up with companies actually emailing me and things to say, like, we'd really love to have you on board as a sponsor or an ambassador. And I still to this day find it amazing, because I mean, I've just filmed a video for Red Gorilla this afternoon as well. and I find it so crazy because you go in like the shops and things and you see their products there, and it's so crazy to think that someone has messaged and they want me to have some products and film a video for them and things, and I'm like, this is insane, you know. Why are they coming to me? So I think I still struggle to process it all sometimes. It doesn't feel real. So yeah, it's been incredible, and the opportunities that have come from it have just been insane as well. You know, I had a advert, a Horse of the Year show on the big screen as well, that still plays every year from Blue Chip and things and stuff like that. Just seeing that other people are seeing the companies that I'm sponsored by and stuff with me there, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, like this is huge. And that plays every year as well. I get people sending me a video of it, a Horse of the Year show every year, which is really funny. But no, it's honestly been incredible, and I can't thank my sponsors and everyone enough for, you know, providing me with those opportunities to go out there and do photo shoots and film like promotional things for them and stuff like that. So it's been great. And I mean, the products that they provide the horses with are just top quality as well, and it makes your life so much easier when you're working with horses to have like Blue Chip providing feed for them and stuff, so that it's one less thing that you have to worry about as well, and it's top quality stuff. So it's, you know, it is really helping them. But you know, financially and things, it's helped no end as well, because you're not having to cover that section of things as well. Yeah. If that makes any sense.
So tell us, give your sponsors a bit of a shout out. So we've got Blue Chip, who obviously
Blue Chip, Cask Equestrian, who make helmets. So I welcomed them at the beginning of last year. And also Gallop Equestrian, who have also been incredible, providing all rugs and bridles and things like that for the horses too. They've been fantastic. I also did a meet and greet at Horse of the Year show for them, which was honestly the craziest experience of my entire life. I was watching in the main ring, and I think my meter was at about 3 o'clock. And I thought I'll go down at like, you know, 10 to 3 or something, and just, you know, walk on down. And at about 2:30, I got a phone call off my friend Jess to say, Kate, I think you need to get down here. Like, they've closed off like a section of the shopping village because of the queue at the Gallop stand. And I was like, what? That's insane. It can't be. And she was like, I think you need to get down here now. So I thought, right, okay, I'll head down. And I started to walk down, and then I got a phone call off Gallop on my way down saying, whatever you do, don't come through the main entrance. Like, there's too many people there, and if they see you and stuff, it's just not going to work out. You've got to come through the back entrance. And it felt like, that's the first time I think I've ever felt like a celebrity or something. You know, it was like I felt like I needed like a bodyguard or something, just walking down the back and sneaking into the back of the shop. And it was incredible. And there were so many people there. And I had got to sign things for the first time ever, and I was signing programs and hats and phone cases, and it's just crazy. I failed to understand why people want to meet me. So I don't understand it, but it was insane.
So that's Blue Chip, Cask,
yeah,
Gallop.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
So they're your 3 main ones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I've done sort of work for other companies as well, but I don't tend to accept many sponsors because I like to be able to do more for them and stuff, and I don't have a lot of time myself, so I definitely won't be taking on any more for the moment because I just don't have enough time to devote to them. So yeah,
as well, having a business, having obviously you've got your own horses, but you've got coaching, you've got, as you say, all the different liveries that come in, and horses take a lot of work, so you don't be feeling stressed that you've got to do something else. Because I think, from what you said before we started recording, the amount of horses that you've got to ride, exercise, care for is like more than a full-time job. So add on the full-time job of being an influencer. If you scale that up and work with a lot of brands, there's physically not enough time in the day, is there?
Not enough time in the day. No, there really isn't. I struggle to make the videos and things, but you know, because the horses always have to come first. Like, horse welfare absolute priority. So the videos often get pushed aside. But no, I'm getting better at managing my time and stuff. So hopefully I'll be able to post more regularly soon. And the weather's getting better and things as well, which does make life a bit easier. This winter's been hell because somehow I've managed to accumulate a lot of young mares over the winter in schooling liveries and of my own. So with all the wind and the wet weather and stuff, particularly the wind, it has been a living hell trying to work with all of them. And I've really missed having some good like schoolmasters that will work in any weather, because when you're trying to play around with like 4 and 5-year-old mares that are just really hormonal and naughty to begin with, then adding wind into the mix just doesn't end up very well.
Absolutely. So if anyone is listening to this and they're looking for some tips to help grow their social media presence, work with sponsors, anything like that, what kind of tips would you be able to offer them?
I joke around a lot and say do everything that I don't do on a regular basis. So posting regularly with high quality images are the best way to go. Because I mean, even the basic iPhones and stuff that you get nowadays often have, you know, better quality and stuff than some cameras, or at least equal to. So if you have an iPhone and things, then you should be okay for camera quality and stuff. But yeah, just post regular and interact with your followers as much as you can, whether that be to like question things on your story on Instagram and stuff like that. Or whether it be through DMs as well, because it's nice to be able to interact with people through there. And in terms of YouTube and stuff, again, just posting as often as you can. But with YouTube, I find it's nicer to really have a lot more thought go behind your videos and stuff. I never want to be one of those people that just post like all the time, but the content's always kind of just very borderline. Yeah. So, you know, it's okay, but it's just like everyday kind of stuff. But I always like the videos to have a lot of work go into them and be really interesting to watch, because to me, I'd rather, you know, rather than have people just be like, oh, she's posted again, you know, I'd rather have people think, oh, you know, I really enjoyed her last video and she's just posted for the first time in a couple of weeks, so hopefully this video will be just as good and stuff. And I like to do it like that rather than in quality over quantity.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I think as well with YouTube particularly, you know, we as consumers expect something kind of more edited, more.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, Instagram you can get away with. You know, I usually do stories when I'm walking the vlog or doing something, and that's fine on that.
That's for Instagram. Yeah.
But as you say, on YouTube, you want something more refined, more thought through.
Yeah. Which is obviously more time consuming, but it's worth it.
No, definitely. Which is your favourite platform out of the two, Instagram or YouTube?
It bounces back between the two. I think YouTube, Instagram, I can spend ages just scrolling through, you know, I spend a lot of time on Instagram, and it's easier to post on and things. Whereas YouTube, I love it when I finish the video and I put it on YouTube. YouTube's great, but the editing process, I get so frustrated because I'm a bit of a perfectionist when it comes to editing the YouTube videos as well. And then you have like the computer problems of like your computer will crash or something and you lose everything and you've got to start again. And it's that typical process. So yeah, I love YouTube when I've actually got the video there. But the editing process is not my favourite thing to do.
So tell us where we can find you in all of the places.
Okay, so on Instagram you can find me as Blob The Cob, or for my business account you can find me as KL Show Jumping, and on YouTube you can also find me under Blob The Cob. There are some other more embarrassing accounts on YouTube that I'm not going to disclose, but you may find them at some point. Facebook, my Facebook page is Kate Lewis Show Jumping, and that's about it, I think. I do have a Twitter, but I never use it, so wouldn't recommend heading over there.
Don't waste time over there. If you want to speak to Kate, don't do that.
Yeah, it's a waste of time. I'll never see it.
Thank you so much for joining me today. I have loved our chat.
No, it's been lovely. Thank goodness we finally managed to do it. I know I've been so busy as well, so it's been great to finally be able to talk to you. I've really enjoyed it.
Definitely. Thanks so much.
That's all right.